getting together and celebrating the slaughter of the Native American Indians, right? The current state of blacks and Hispanics being held captive in the prison system, right? The system is set up to either kill or imprison us. A majority of the people incarcerated in this country are either black or Hispanic. And you can do the research and you can see we fill up the jails more than the other races, right? Even up to today, we're still being released from long years of imprisonment for being wrongfully accused of crimes we didn't commit. When we so-called got our rights after the Civil War, let's face it, one of us black men or women here tonight have to live with the fact that we could leave here tonight and get arrested or worse, killed. But why? That's something that we have to live with. That's something that we gotta sit here and think of. We get racially profiled every time. Why is that? Why they can't just leave us alone? Next slide. More origin of our pain. We got some wafong over here. Anybody gonna get some wafong after this? Nah. Hey yo, Ching, let me get pork fried rice and chicken wings. I just wanted to say that. All right, next slide. I mean, go ahead, read that.
Deuteronomy 28, 43 and 44. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high.
So one of the curses is that other nations, that no matter where we go amongst these other nations, they will get up very high, and what?
And thou shalt come down very low.
And we shall be very low, meaning we won't have enough to sustain ourselves like the other people. You see a lot of people just take vacations whenever they feel like it.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? We gotta watch MTV to go to Cancun. Spring break, right? That's right. Go ahead.
He shall lend to thee.
He shall what?
He shall lend to thee.
He shall lend to thee.
Thou shalt not lend to him.
Anybody own a bank? Anybody here have funds that I could borrow from? Because I'm trying to buy a house. I need to buy a mortgage. You think you could lend me? You could lend me a couple of thousands? Nah, right? So he said that the strangers that is among you, they shall get up very high. Look, the Chinese people, they come from all over the world and they set up shop. And who's their largest? Every hood. Thank you. Who's their largest consumers?
Black people.
Quote unquote blacks.
Quote unquote blacks.
Quote unquote blacks and Latinos. And that's the curse that he said would happen. He said that the stranger that is within you shall get up very high and thou shalt be very low. How come we can't open up our businesses and prosper? And why is it that, especially in the 1960s when Harlem was on an uprise, and Harlem was known for their the black culture and the black business owners. All of that is not there no more. You don't see no black business owners in Harlem no more. Why is that?
That's when like crack. That was when they injected crack.
That's when they injected crack into our communities.
Crack epidemic.
The crack epidemic in the 80s. You understand what I'm saying? So this is the that we can see. Look, we got the Arabs over here, and guess who's there?
The black dudes.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, I gotta get some E real quick. Let me get a bag of chips. Yo, you got them cold waters? So basically, we see here, he said that he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. So by process of elimination, we can identify who these people they're talking about, right? The other nations that were once lower than us, because we know every time you ask a black person, yo, what's your history? Yo, we was in Africa, we was kings and queens. Yes, we were kings and queens, but what happened to us? How come we're like this now? If we used to be kings and queens, shouldn't we still be kings and queens?
That's right.
So it says here, the other nations that was once lower than us shall raise up above us and be on top, and we shall come down to the bottom and to be the lowest. We were once the greatest nation on earth, but now we're seen as the worst. The enemy is now on top while we suffer at their hands at the bottom. We once was the richest and wealthiest nation on earth and lent to everyone. Now it's the opposite. And we are on the bottom and have nothing. We have to go to the nations in order to get loans, whether it be for a home or school or business, etc. We aren't in the financial position to lend to anyone. Can anybody here agree with that?
Right.
Making them rich.
That's we making them rich. Go ahead, next slide. All right. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Everybody know who this brother is right here? Does anybody? No one knows who this guy is? I know somebody got a pair of Jordans on right now.
That's right, Jordan.
All right, it's Michael Jordan, right?
And he
So,
don't
see-
even look like Michael Jordan.
He don't look like Michael. He's crying, right? Because I guess he must have read this. He must have read the prophecies.
Right.
He shall lend to thee. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Right? $40 million slaves. It's a book. Got the book right here. So, in the book $40 Million Slaves, page 206, paragraph 2 and 3, it states, the year before Jordan joined the team in January 2000, the Wizards had reportedly lost $40 million. With Jordan in uniform, the Wizards sold out 82 straight home games, right? And made about $30 million in profits. But money was not what I was looking for, Jordan said to Poland. I didn't do this for the money. I thought I was going to take over the franchise eventually. So Poland, who's the franchise league owner of that team, the Wizards, he replied and said, that was never part of the arrangement, Michael. I've worked 39 years to build this organization. I'm not giving it to you, and I don't want you to be partners, Michael. So it doesn't matter how prestige you are. Once you got this skin tone right here, and once you got the skin, he shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. There's no escaping it. No matter how much money you're worth, we're still looked as blacks or niggers or Negroes or African Americans or Latino. Yeah, we're still looked at. So we can see this brother here crying, you know what I'm saying? Because he can't be the head. He got to be the tail still.
That's like on a kind of similar thing. It's the same thing with everybody thinking that Jay-Z had a big part to do with the Nets when he had what was the percentage?
Like
1%. 1/100% of ownership of the Nets or influence of the Nets.
Right.
But the fact was for him to bring in all the people in the hood, all the blacks, Latinos, and everybody who's of urban upbringing to like buy all this merchandise. And I've seen a lot of people buy Nets merchandise, and when Jay-Z came out of the deal, they were upset that they bought it.
You see?
That's the crazy part.
And that's the thing.
Right.
And that's the thing with our people. You got some. Go ahead.
Who's the owner of the Charlotte Hornets right now?
Who's the owner of the Charlotte Hornets? Isn't it Michael Jordan? Isn't he part owner?
He's a part owner.
He's a majority.
Yeah,
majority owner.
because he bought most of the stocks, but he still has to be in league. Other people helping him have that, so he's not like the only sole owner. He has a back. Okay, cool.
So next slide. All right, go ahead.
Deuteronomy 28, verses 45.
So
and 46.
I want everybody to listen up clearly to this. And after this, we're gonna take a little small break. We got some refreshments, and we're gonna get right back to this. All right? After this, go ahead.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
So he said. So one of the curses that he said that all these curses shall come on these people, and shall pursue them, right? Because they what? Because they hearkened not, or they did not want to listen to the Lord, to the voice of the Lord their God. So their God gave them instructions, and they refused to follow it. So he said that, and these curses they shall be upon thee, and for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Meaning, these people cannot escape it. Meaning, their future generations will produce inherit the curse. They will produce these symptoms or show off these curses, no matter what they do. Because why? The key thing is that they're forgetting who their God is. All these curses written here in this book, right, and chapter has come upon us, and as a result, we have been destroyed as a people. This happened simply because we didn't listen to the Most High God, and went against him by not following his laws, statutes, and commandments. These curses, which we are currently under, are on us for a sign to let us read them here and learn about our origin, to give us back our identity and let us know we are the people of the book called the Bible. So we're gonna take a short break. We got some refreshment. I know some of you guys been sitting here for a while.
Understand where we're coming from with history, because so much has been hidden. We went over the term Black, African. We went over Hispanic, Latino. You know, I know some sisters came in a little later that didn't get that part, but we could go over it again on the Q&A. And, you know, I'm just happy that everybody's here. And, you know, we're just going to keep it rolling. So, again, we're going to have a Q&A after this. And, you know, all questions are welcome. Thank you.
Right. So, next slide, brother. Right. I know that this just came right in your face. We just came from a subtle, nice, you know, meet and greet, and now we just see this. All right. More origin of our pain. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 28, 47 and 48.
Go ahead.
Because thou servest not the Lord thy God.
So he said, because we did not want to serve him. Go ahead.
With joyfulness.
With joyfulness.
And with gladness of heart.
And with gladness of heart, meaning our people was not willing to serve this God. Go ahead.
For the abundance of all things.
Go ahead.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
Therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies. Go ahead.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
Go ahead.
In hunger.
In hunger, meaning whatever these people, whenever you want something to eat, you gotta serve this God. You gotta serve your enemies. Go ahead.
And in thirst.
Go ahead.
And in nakedness.
And in nakedness.
And in want of all things.
So anything you need, you gotta serve your enemy now to get that. How many people wake up in the morning and go to work? That's everybody. So whatever we need, we gotta do what? Go to work and serve. Get a paycheck to buy food, to buy clothes, to buy drink. Anybody here in their basement got a manufacturing clothes company? Can anybody produce their own clothing here? We're wearing labels of other people's clothing, meaning I made this, so I'm gonna put H&M on this or Polo. You know what I'm saying? They're branding their product. So go ahead.
And in thirst.
And in thirst. And in nakedness.
And in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron.
And he shall what?
Put a yoke of iron.
And he shall what?
Put a yoke of iron.
And he shall what?
Put a yoke of iron.
Give us free.
Put a yoke of iron.
Go ahead.
Upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee.
Until he have destroyed thee. Not just physically, but mentally. All right? Because like they taught us that, yo, get over slavery. It's okay. We're all the same now. But how can we forget this? Right? How can we forget this? How? How can we forget this? Look. Food pantry. You understand? How can we forget that?
But the white people are slaves. We forget that.
Nah, I mean that would be the right thing to do. You understand? But we gotta understand this is what happened to our people. And he shall put a yoke of iron on thy neck until thou be destroyed. This happened. Look at this guy. He can't go nowhere. All right. Look, there's an illustration of what they used to do to our people. Not just here in America, but on the islands. A lot of us here come from the islands. We were scattered. That's what happened to our people. This is real history here. Next slide. Serving thine enemies, right? In this book called The Black Labor, White Wealth, right? According to Dr. Clark Anderson in his book called Black Labor, White Wealth, on page 142, paragraph 1, line 4, he states, blacks have participated to varying degrees in nearly every war in which this country has engaged since the year 1619. Yet, blacks have received little monetary compensation of any form from their military service to the government. That's what's it to the government. But as you can see here, got our proud black brothers here serving. I fought for this country, but for what? What are you receiving? Are you gonna fight for a country who dragged you here and force you to be here. What are you fighting for? Freedom or freedom? All right, next slide. All right, this is kind of lengthy. So this happened to us because we didn't serve God and give all thanks to him for everything that we had. We didn't appreciate the fact that we had everything because of him and through him. We will serve our enemies to get food whenever we want to eat, drink, or buy clothing. We'll have to serve them in want of all things. There's nothing we can get for free. I'm pretty sure, I know me and this brother right here, we usually laugh about this. If they could charge us for breathing air, they would charge us to breathe air. I believe they would do that. All right?
Coming soon.
You know what I'm saying? Let me not put that out there, man, because we must serve our enemies in order to get money, to buy the things that we need and want. Very few of us have the means to support ourselves. So the majority of the population have no choice but to get a job to supply their needs and wants. This refers back to when our ancestors were slaves, minus the money. Even up until today, let's think about it for a second. When we look at it, aren't we still slaves? We don't own our homes because we pay mortgages and taxes, nor do we own our cars. We need to pay annually to use it every year. We work to pay the government back the money that they gave us, to basically rent what we own. When we were slaves, we had yokes of iron around our necks along with shackles on our feet. We were treated as if we were cattle and nothing more. All of this happened because we refused to follow what our God told us to do. Next slide. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 49 and 50. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
The what?
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far. Romans. Go ahead. Look at that. Go ahead.
From the end of the earth.
From the end of the earth.
As swift as the eagle flieth.
As swift as the eagle flieth. It's all on our money. It's printed everywhere. As swift as the eagle flieth. So that's the nation that would come against us and take us in those cargo slave ships. Go ahead.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
A language whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Go ahead.
A nation of fierce countenance.
Of fierce countenance. Look at their weaponry. We didn't have none of that. Go ahead.
Which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
Next slide. A nation from far away would come and enslave us and take us captive on cargo slave ships. America's symbol is the eagle. Can anybody agree to that or no? When America so-called landed on the moon, what they said? The eagle has landed. They referred to us